Hello, how's everybody? I was thinking like home. I don't have a call. Okay. Anyway, I wanted to do a little bit to my hair. I just got off work, of course, and I wanted to go over some things. In going over the boxes, there's some sad things too, because this one is going to be about. I want to say this one thing is about using Jehovah God's name, okay? And I feel since I'm going back over all things, I don't remember living that title as a Jehovah's Witness. And I mean, what they call a Jehovah's Witness, it's Jehovah Witness. They say Jehovah is God. And that's a pretty big title, which I don't believe that Jehovah is God, because you could use any name. One thing I want to say about a name, the reason why, this is a good point, because the reason why a name is not too good, and I think the reason why, what was it not? No, it was Moses. Moses asked him, who should I say? Who should I tell the Pharaoh who's speaking with me? And the intelligence of God actually knew not to say a name, because you can use a name for anything. And I changed my name. I mean, like, I had this name and I changed it, okay? And now I don't even, I like the name, but to me, I grew out of the name. Also at work, they were calling me another name, and I didn't like it, okay? And that's what got me to thinking about a name and how God doesn't like the name that they've given him. First of all, it's imperfect. And he shows that he doesn't like the name. Like, for instance, like I was saying with Moses, he asked him, who should I say? You know what I mean? And the answer wasn't really a name. It was like a definition, of something. And that's what I was thinking about. I mean, like, I remember, like, they were playing at work. It was just playing. But I remember after changing my name, and it took me a long time. I think I've had this name for maybe like 3 years now. Maybe 2. And legally. And, now everybody calls him by that name. And the girl at work was joking with me, and then she goes, "We're going to call you No Way," which is Noah. And that's what they said, because I was saying I was a vegan, and I'm vegan, and I said, just making jokes about the animals, and the animals like this, and I can talk to animals. But anyway, she says, okay, we're going to call you Noah. But they kept calling me Noah. And I was thinking about, after all this time I changed my name, there's no way in the world I want them to start calling me a different name. And then I started thinking about a name, how if you make a mistake, or it's just skating on thin ice to come up with a name for God. So that's another all these things I was thinking about. And then I was thinking about when I was opening up these boxes, and I was thinking about, I never felt, and I didn't see anybody who could take the name of being a witness of God, So I didn't see that in the organization. And then I was thinking about prayer and how we prayed. And and this is for, like, I know that I have Jehovah Witnesses listening also. And most likely they listen, they're doubting it also. And I was thinking about to actually say that you're God's witness. That's a pretty big deal. And then I was thinking about, was I surrounded by people who were witnesses of God? And then I was thinking about, what was the atmosphere? And how close were we to God when I was Jehovah's Witness? How close were we as a whole to God. And I was saying we weren't really that close because the only thing we talked about, I mean, we were talking about field service. I mean, that's not God. We talk about field service. You have to sell books. That wasn't God. I mean, there was very little to mention about God. By accident, I would talk to God because, I mean, you would say Jehovah when you want to say a prayer, and then you have to say in Jesus Christ's name, amen. But when you would talk about him, the only time I really think I talked about him when I was Jehovah Witness is like when I was like, I remember self-abuse. They used to talk about self-abuse, which is masturbation. And I had a problem with self-abuse that they would call. And I remember praying just, I guess accidentally, because I wasn't like praying to like Jehovah or anything. I was just like, you know, you don't have to even use a name. I was like, oh, you know, I wanted to get to a point to where I can talk about this self-abuse that I'm doing, you know, and I could tell them everything. But in the tone and everything that I was speaking, and I was actually speaking to God, okay? So I never really, but I didn't know. It was like by accident from my heart. So I didn't see that as far as them taking the title of being Jehovah's or God's witnesses. And as far as Jehovah is concerned, the only thing I really knew about it is like when you're in trouble, you're supposed to say Jehovah, which is not really, it's more like it's not really like a spiritual or something like divine that you would do, you know. Instead of just saying pray to God, they said just say Jehovah's name, okay? And it actually happened to me, and it's in one of my videos, but I'm not going to go over it because I did use the name Jehovah when it's in one of the videos. People who've seen all the videos, they'll say. I can't even tell you where to find it because I have to finish this. So anyway, so what the point I'm trying to make is, in going back, I can see that I wasn't surrounded by people who just talked about God. I mean, like I said, the major things we talked about was field service. We majorly talked about ourselves as Jehovah's Witnesses. Everything was about Jehovah's Witnesses. It wasn't about feeding the hungry. It wasn't about helping. And that's one thing I'm glad I did since I wasn't a Jehovah's Witness, and I'm putting these two lives together that I had, was the fact that now I give to, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm sure a lot of us do it now when we left the Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, I give to this organization called Heifer, and it just helps people in other poor countries give show them how to do farming, give them some animals, how to treat the animals, you know, and things like that. I'm vegan, but I know everybody else is not going to be vegan, so it helps them, you know, like show them how to, you know, do the farm animals, show them how to plant and things like that to make their family more organized. I don't have the right word, but you know, just to help the families in need, to show them how to take care of themselves. So I do things like that. Another thing that I didn't do, and this is good because I'm putting things together. I didn't, as a Jehovah's Witness, didn't care about the government, but telling that, I mean, like, if I didn't care about the government that I'm living in, how do we expect any change? Instead of being dependent as a Jehovah's Witness, I can see that I was dependent on other people making good decisions. But as an ex-Jehovah's Witness, I'm actually doing things. I mean, like, for instance, look on my table. I mean, I was very much involved in the crisis that we had. I can actually say with Trump and the Republicans. And if I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I'm talking to you Jehovah's Witnesses, if I was a Jehovah Witness, I would have to depend on somebody else somebody in the world to make the right decisions for me. Because you're not able to do that. But now, as an ex-Jehovah Witness, I can see that. I mean, I have Democrats. I stopped giving so much online because I got so many emails. I mean, I was giving things on emails, but then got too many. Everybody got my number, my email. So now I got certain ones. I had this is Jill Biden. This is President Barack Obama, and this is the Democrats. I mean, certain ones I give to that I would never ever give to if I were Jehovah's Witness, but I'm happy for it because it was something that I couldn't do, as I can see in one of my boxes. So the major point I'm trying to make is what I've seen from going over the boxes, I wasn't able to do a lot of things to help other people and to help change things, to whereas and Jehovah's Witnesses stopped me, but whereas now I can do those things. And I'm really serious about the point about being called Jehovah's Witness. I mean, the reason why I say Jehovah's Witness, because I know it's not Jehovah, but I wouldn't be able to call them God's witnesses. I mean, it would be like repugnant, I hope that's a good word, for me to call them God's witnesses when they're not. And like I said, another good point that I made was the fact that I was surrounded, because I'm going over these things, and I was surrounded by people who did not so much think of God all the time, but what they thought about the most was everything was Jehovah's Witnesses. And like I said, you can use it. I think the reason why God didn't want to use his name, because you can use the name for anything. I mean, anything, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, okay, they have the name Jesus Christ. I mean, they use it for, I'm sure they don't think about, I mean, they use it for, like, if they get in trouble, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, you know, they use it for so many things. That's a light example. But a good example is just like, if you use the name Jehovah, but do you actually know that they mean, and you have to do some heavy trusting, that when they say Jehovah, they mean Jehovah, they mean God. When all the evidence shows that when they say Jehovah, they don't mean Jehovah, they mean something else. And I know that for experience, because I'm gonna try and see it so I can show you. There was one about my brother. Okay, it's an early tape. It's about my brother. When I moved into his house, and I'm almost sure it tells about living with my brother. Okay, one of my brothers. Okay, his name is Daryl. I call him Daryl, but it's Daryl. And it explains, from firsthand experience, that God, and I was a Jehovah's Witness that had just left the Jehovah's Witnesses, that it actually showed me that Jehovah that they use is not God. Okay, so that's evidence. Okay, so anyway, this is all I want to say. It's those major points. And I think it's good to reflect on these things, because now I can see that I became a stronger person, and I'm seeing that the decision that I made is definitely a right decision, you know what I mean? And one point I want to tell the Jehovah's Witnesses, you should speak to God and tell him, and pray to him saying, is this the right name? Do you want me to call you Jehovah? And I'm sure he'll let you know. Okay, you can even tell him that this guy from YouTube, I'm honest to goodness, you can tell him that. And they should be able to do that. And then the thing about it is, if they find out, if God gives them the answer back, how are they going to get the answer back? If God says, okay, no, I don't, you pray to him, you are going to pray to him, because I'm telling you, if you want to find out, should you use his name, okay. So you're going to pray to him and say, oh, okay, well, and you find out that the answer is no. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's a lot of work you have to do. Okay? So anyway, those are the points I want to say. I'm going to continue this, but it was very nice speaking with you, and I just hope that everybody makes the right decisions, the ones that are still in the organization. Thank you very much. I'm trying to strengthen you, because like when you come out of the Jehovah Witnesses, or when you listen to my tape, I'm making you stronger. Maybe it took me 8 years. It took me 8 years, and I'm still healing. I just got a comment of someone telling me you're healing, and I said I'm still healing after all of this. But with the YouTube and the Ex-jehovah Witnesses, you can heal much faster. So thank you very much. Bye.